time to shoot the rock. This is the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN 102.7 FM, AM 1450, AM 1230, and streaming live on ESPNKY.com. Your weekly double-barrel dose of the biggest names, best products, and most intriguing topics in the world of firearms. Brought to you by Hilux Optics, Swagger by Pods, Shoot with Confidence, J&K Used Cars on the Bypass, and Mohawk Outdoors. In pursuit of liberty, justice, and all things guns. Here are your hosts, Nick and Nate Noble.
Hey, welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show. It's Nick Noble, your host, right now in the ESPN Bunkers 102.7 right here on Campbell Lane in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We're here with our producer, Mr. Brian Webb, the Sports Webb, the guy that's he's over here trying to figure out this board, and I
What's
love
up, good
that.
looking?
Yeah, I love that. It's
last show went perfect. I don't know.
2 years of the just wedded bliss, Mr. Brian Webb.
That poor gal.
That poor gal. I know she's a saint. She's taken my money at poker, and I know she's a saint to be married to you. So welcome to the Rockcastle Gun Show. We've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to get into a few different things here. One of the biggest things is Rockcastle 2.0, and we made a Facebook post tonight, and it's getting all kinds of tractions, and everybody's like, I kind of teased it a little bit because I couldn't. We posted the picture of Rockcastle 2.0 without any words behind it, and everyone's like, "What? What's just going on? Everything's going on." So we're going to get into Rockcastle 2.0 in this hour. We got 1 hour. My brother will be joining us. He's over in Eastern Kentucky, and he's hunting the great wapiti, the American, just beautiful elk over there, and he's got a bunch of clients over there, and he's doing that. He's going to join us here in a little bit. But we've got a great show. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about the, Rockcastle Shooting Center is going to be the main focus on. We don't really talk about the Rock very much. We do a little bit, and our guests talk about it a little bit. But we're going to talk a lot about the future of Rockcastle Shooting Center, what's going to happen in the next year or so, and some of the transitions that we're going through that, are part of it. And it's going to be cool, and so stay tuned. You're gonna hear some things and some insights into. There's been a lot of speculation out there, lots of speculation on what's going on with the Rock. We've gone through some transitions, and I will tell you that most of those transitions are really, really good. And it's going to turn into something very special, and kind of we'll get into what's the recipe of the Rock and what's the secret sauce in the Rock, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and we're going to do that. But the first thing we're going to do, Brian, is before we get back to Nate and Rockcastle 2.0, is we're going to talk about. Well, we're going to talk to one of my favorite guys. This guy comes up to Rockcastle Shooting Center every year. He shoots in the Pro-Am. He is the NRA board member. He's an NRA board member. He's an attorney. He's in the gun lobby and everything else that has to do with it. But you've never seen a guy shoot a 3-gun match like this guy, because he's in a wheelchair and he's unassisted and he's pulling himself along and he's shooting pistol, rifle, and shotgun, and he's doing some incredible things. He's one of our favorite guys. He's introduced us to a bunch of amazing NRA board members and a bunch of amazing people inside of the NRA organization, and he's always just been such the biggest advocate of Rockcastle Shooting Center. And our first guest is Mr. Graham Hill, NRA board member, and he's out of Washington, D.C. right now. I think he's sitting at his desk, and he's on live on ESPN Radio.
How are you, Nick and Nate?
Graham, good to have you, man.
Thanks for giving me a call. It's always a pleasure to be on here. I hope things down at the castle are going well.
They
get
are.
A little snow down there. Get a little deer hunting in, I hope.
Well, we're getting a lot of deer hunting in. We don't have much snow. We had some snow that was in the forecast a couple days ago, but it didn't really happen. And being a Colorado boy, I was hoping some of that action would happen.
Snow for you is a whole different level.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a white Christmas, but we'll see. Yeah, but what have you been up to? There's I could go back in the whole legislative thing and what's going on in Virginia right now and everything else, and we're rich with topics. And Graham Hill, NRA board member, what's up?
Well, Virginia, as we say up here, elections have consequences, and we are seeing the consequences of this in Virginia. Senator Saslaw, who's at a Falls Church here up in the northern part of Virginia, the liberal part of the state, and introduced a bill, SB 16, or filed it. They call it pre-filing here, SB 16, which was, if it were become law, would be worse than New York, California, and it would have made Virginia the highest anti-Second Amendment state in the country. All semi-automatic firearms, pistols, shotguns, rifles, anything that would have a threaded barrel on it that was semi-automatic would all become contraband overnight.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I don't think people understand all semi-automatic firearms.
No, it's stunning. The first time I read it, I couldn't completely believe what I was reading. And he stood by it. It obviously stirred a whole lot of people up, and we've now, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, had an increasing number of counties in the state, county boards declare themselves sanctuary counties for the Second Amendment, which is really more a political statement, kind of a position on the Second Amendment and their attitude about Richmond, the state capital legislature, moving in the direction that Saslaw and Northam. Remember, Northam, our esteemed governor, who was dressed up as a Klansman in his medical school yearbook.
And he's the late-term after-birth abortion guy, too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just awful. Wants to change the topic to anything but himself and his past and his attitude about things. And he's latched on to guns. You'll remember earlier this year he called a special session where he had proposed a whole series of individual bills that collectively would have honestly been less bad than SB 16. But then we had a Republican legislature. They convened for a day and adjourned without considering any of them. So the election occurred. Bloomberg dumped a huge pile of money into the state races here in Virginia and also county races. The 3 northernmost counties in Virginia, Bloomberg spent about $2 million on the county attorney races at the county level. Wow. Astounding.
Yeah, that's astounding.
Anyway, he won a majority. He's been on television talking about it, bigger than Dallas. He's very proud of it. Proud that he defeated the pro-gun voters of Virginia. He's very straightforward. Now he says we're going to get the payoff. Just Monday of this week, Northam and the majority leader, Saslaw, who's the guy that introduced SB 16, in response to all of these counties declaring themselves sanctuary counties, have come out and said, well, we'll amend our bill to grandfather owners of all these otherwise prohibited weapons, but they're going to have to register them.
Right.
You want to keep it, you're going to have to go register it, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
So we may or may not see a phenomenon like we saw in Colorado, where they stirred the pot and our side came back and said, wait a minute, you're not representing the majority of this state, much less the principles of freedom, and push back. You're seeing that in Arizona on the red flag measure that's been discussed out there. Whether a phenomenon like that is underway for witnessing its development here in Virginia or not, I don't know. But it's going to take something along those lines to stop the Democrats in Richmond from what they want to do is it's kind of this one-upsmanship game, right? They want to say, well, we're more hard on the Second Amendment than our neighbors or you guys in California. They want to become the new standard of the hardest on nailing Second Amendment. We'll see.
Well, you know, I think if I remember, I was looking yesterday, and one of our dear friends, Todd Jarrett, he's a professional shooter. He was live last night, and in Prince George County at their county commission meeting or something. There was
I think it's at Prince William County, Virginia.
I think he was in Prince George, but I'm not sure. But
was it Maryland? Okay.
All right, but
okay.
wherever he was, I mean, and he spoke live last night. He gave an eloquent speech on a prepared speech on everything. But and you may be right, Graham. But
I don't know.
But I want to. I think if I remember correctly, there's 95 counties in Virginia, and about half of them have declared a 2A sanctuary. And you said that's mostly political. What does that mean when these counties declare a 2A sanctuary? What does that mean?
Right now, it doesn't mean anything in terms of because under current law, you're lawfully in possession of these things, and it's simply a political statement that we in this county are not going to enforce laws that violate your Second Amendment right. But right now, we don't have any. When it would, become interesting is when Richmond, the state legislature, passes, and they're going to. I mean, let's be clear, they're going to pass new gun restrictions in Virginia. The question is, how awful are they going to be? They've taken a very small step back with this grandfather concept, but even with that in there, it's an outrageous piece of legislation. So, but when they're going to pass something, I suspect that it's going to be unpleasant. The Virginia Attorney General, Mark Herring, who also has issues, some of the same Klan issues apparently as Ralph Northam, he's come out just in the last day or two and threatened everybody, that all these counties you're talking about, and saying, hey, if we change the law here, you're going to enforce it or we're going to have a problem. And we'll see.
And this is where the rubber starts meeting the road, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, this is where that's a scary little thing right there. I mean, and people that don't pay attention to these kind of laws that are trying to be passed and paying attention to the Second Amendment community and all these NRA members out there and everybody else, I mean, that's where when not confiscation in this, because they've walked it back a little bit, so they're going to grandfather it, which is actually as much chicken, whatever you want to call it, excrement as there is, because, I mean, if these things are truly as dangerous as what you're saying they're going to be, why would you walk that back a little bit? I mean, you're either all in or you're all out, and now they seem to be capitulating to the pressure.
Yeah, so part of what may be going on is that in the Virginia Senate, it's a 21-19 majority for Democrats. There are two Democrat Virginia senators that have multiple sanctuary counties in their Senate district. And if they cave, or they're going to the leadership, to Saslaw and saying, hey, man, you're going to get me unelected. You need to tone this down because my entire district is going bananas. That is likely, as anything else, the explanation for why Northam and Saslaw are starting to kind of say, whoa, we have really stirred the pot here. Of course, that's what Saslaw's intention was by pre-filing the bill to begin with. He didn't have to do it that way. You can wait till the session comes in and file the bill then, but he filed it 2 months in advance to show everybody what a badass he was and how he was the tough guy on guns. And now he's got a real mess on his hands. And likely those 2 or 3 Democrat senators are coming there and saying, we can't do this. We can't support this. We may get recalled. So you better tone it down. Now, we'll see. They can't afford to lose more than that in the Senate, or this the whole thing dies. So we'll see. But you're right. Strategically, what's scary is that they're going to pass something, and it's likely going to be something that we all, you and me, and normal people, gun owners, look at and say that's outrageous. If we have some counties that say, well, we're not going to enforce that, it starts setting the stage for something that's completely ridiculous, where you've got the state attorney general trying to, in some way, force counties to enforce a law that they think is unconstitutional. Not cool.
Yeah, not cool at all. And, you know, the crazy thing, and I look at Virginia. Virginia is a little bit different because they've got D.C. in the middle of that, and that changes all the political just spectrums in the middle of it. I mean, it's a section of it. It's kind of like Chicago and Illinois. Illinois is a pretty sane state, and then you get Cook County and Chicago.
Right. That's exactly what
You're
it's like. Downstate, it's the 4 counties right here up by D.C. that are ultra-liberal. And the rest of the state, downstate, are pretty normal. Of course, they didn't get the voting out in the election like we needed to not have this problem to begin with, right? But now there's a whole bunch of folks downstate that are nowhere near D.C. saying, what the hell's going on?
Exactly. Well, and Virginia is a nice southern state, just like the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And Kentucky, I'll tell you, we live in one of the best states in the country for gun laws. I mean, we even our both sides of the aisle are pro-gun here. And there's some issues in inner city in Louisville and a little bit in Lexington, but for the most part, the state is very pro-gun. And I've always looked at Virginia being that same way. And and I grew up in Colorado. You mentioned Colorado earlier, and
sure.
it is a state that was a bunch of ranchers and miners and natural gas and oil folks and that state flipped. It's as blue as it gets now.
The Hickenlooper and his cohorts steamrolled it, right? And that's that's why I equate this potentially with that, because you have those centers of liberal density in Colorado. That's what Hickenlooper marshaled to get his bans through. And that's pretty much what's going on here in Virginia. And the question is, how does the rest of the state react? Because the rest of the state is not crazy liberals. And the fact of the matter is, Virginia is like what you described in Kentucky. There's plenty of Democrats in this state that own firearms. Hell, I'm from Texas, as you know. I got plenty of friends that are Democrats in Texas that are staunch Second Amendment supporters.
You betcha. Yeah, there is. But the scary thing is, Graham, even here in Kentucky, we've got a new administration. I think they were sworn in. Our new governor was sworn in yesterday or today, and they're not pro-gun. So these things can flip. They can change. They can. It is an ebb
Elections
and a flow.
have consequences.
Yes, they
every
do.
time.
Yes, they
and with
do.
Bloomberg and Soros out there, they can come in. What they'll do here or there, what they did here, which 2 weeks before the election here, in the 4 counties, Prince William and Loudoun County and Fairfax County, they came in and dropped over $600,000 in each of those races just for the county attorney.
Yeah, that tells
It's
you all you
crazy.
need to know.
Well, very tactical, very, very thoughtful and timed. I mean, he's not an idiot. He's got money, but he's spending it very thoughtfully, and he won all of those.
Absolutely.
Every one of those he won.
Absolutely.
And you now have an ultra-liberal county attorney in each of those counties.
Folks, our guest is Graham Hill, NRA board member. He's out of Washington, D.C. He's an attorney. He's a 2A lobbyist. He does all kinds of stuff. He's friends of Rockcastle Shooting Center. He's on the air with us right now. We're talking a whole bunch of politics, which may seem boring to some of our guests that want to hear guns and gear and everything else, but it's critical time in the United States that we need to be talking about these issues, understanding demographics, understanding just different things and influences that are coming in from outside, like Bloomberg dumping in all this money into AG, stuff all over the state of Virginia to try to flip it. And it's a scary time. And there's a bunch of other states, Graham, that are under attack. I mean, just
absolutely.
Off the top of your
Look at
head.
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. That's
West,
the biggest gun-friendly state there's been in a long time.
Bloomberg funded in Washington State and Oregon. He's a methodical person, and his entities, all of his puppet entities, are thoughtfully and methodically moving forward, and they're in for the long game. I can tell you in Indiana, for example, the mayor's moms demand action, and mayors have gone and hired Republican lobbyists and paid them pretty well to just go and make connections and friends. No legislative ask, no amendments, nothing. But why would you go spend all that money if you don't have something you're asking for right now? It's because you're playing the long game.
Absolutely.
You're starting to invest. You're going to build a little outpost there, build up some friends, some connections, and slowly grow it until you try to launch something. That's what you're pointing out. Why do you care about this kind of stuff? Because you may think it's not there at your doorstep with them trying to take your firearms away, but by the time they are, it's too late.
It's too late.
Way too late.
You
to do
missed
anything
it.
About it.
We missed it. Yeah, it's coming down the pike, and we all need to be vigilant. And Graham, I'll tell you what, you're one of my favorite guys, and I love you coming to Rockcastle Shooting Center, shooting the Pro-Am every year. We're going to have Pro-Am registrations coming up real soon. We're going to spend the last section of this show tonight talking about Rockcastle 2.0, some of the changes we're going through, which are all good and exciting. But can't thank you enough for coming on the show, and we want to have you coming back on because we've got to keep this legislative push, this anti-gun push, this anti-2A push in the forefront of everything that we're all listening as gun owners.
I agree. If this law passes, it would be hard for me to shoot the Rockcastle again because I couldn't be able to keep any of the firearms I used there.
No, yeah.
I couldn't possess them lawfully in Virginia.
Yeah, that's scary.
I'd take them to Texas and just have a really long drive.
There you go.
Graham, Brian Webb here. I just want to tell you thank you so much for doing the show tonight. It's always awesome to listen to you, and God bless you for what you do out there. And I just feel like it's a death by 1,000 paper cuts is what they're trying to do to us.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, y'all have a good Merry Christmas, good holidays. I appreciate y'all letting me come on. Y'all say hello to your dad, Nick. And I hope he's doing well.
I'll do it. Nate's going to join us in the next section. He's over elk hunting in eastern Kentucky. He's a slacker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, it doesn't suck to be him. But we're here in the ESPN studios, and I will send my wishes to my dad and my brother, the rest of the family, and you do the same to yours. Merry Christmas. God bless you, and we really appreciate you coming on the show tonight.
Anytime.
Brother.
I'm always available. Talk to y'all soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show. Your host, Nick Noble. Nate's out of the office. We'll bring him in on the last second. But we're going to bring on the next second, Nikki Gozer, who was on Fox and Friends this morning. She just wrote an incredible book. Her husband was murdered in front of her by a stalker in a gun-free zone, and she's going to come on and share her story. She's going to be on Tucker Carlson tomorrow night. She was with Judge Napolitano on Fox News, and this lady, her message is raw, it's real, and she's talking about gun-free zones, and you're listening to ESPN Radio and Rockcastle Shooting Center. We'll be right back after these messages.
For the 37th year, BB&T and other corporate sponsors have teamed up with the Hilltoppers for the BB&T Classic. This year, the Tops will host Kentucky Wesleyan on Tuesday, December 17th. Get your tickets now by calling 1-800-5-BIG-RED or at the WKU ticket office. Let's be in the stands that night for your chance to be chosen for the BB&T Halftime Cash Crawl. All proceeds benefit the men's and women's basketball programs. Get your tickets and be a diddle as your Hilltoppers host Kentucky Wesleyan. That's Tuesday, December 17th. Tip time is at 7.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. My wife told me not to sing, so I better stop there. Sam Kirtley here from United Furniture and Appliance, and I would love to tell you about United's great selection and terrific buys on Catnapper and Ashley recliners. With over 55 recliners on our showroom floor and over 120 in stock ready to deliver when you want it. We at United are confident that you will find that perfect gift-giving recliner, and I might add, at a price that is guaranteed to bring Christmas cheer. Ask about our 2-for-1 low-price recliners. Don't forget the kiddos. Santa often shops at United for the absolute best selection of beanbags in South Central Kentucky. In-store financing available, and, as always, service with a smile. United Furniture and Appliance, 10th and State Street, historic downtown Bowling Green.
United Furniture, couldn't ask for anything more. This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Hey, this is Tommy Thacker, and you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN.
Welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show. It's your host, Nick Noble, right here in the studios, ESPN Radio 102.7. Hey, we got a lot of stuff going on up in E-Town, Fort Knox, 106.1, 9 a.m. Saturday morning. You can listen to The Rock. It may be pre-recorded, but it's still badass. And then you can come down there. We're getting all kinds of different people from Fort Knox and those great people down to The Rock to shoot The Rock. And we'll be talking about The Rock in our third segment. We're going to talk about Rockcastle Shooting Center 2.0. But right now we're talking about gun rights. You know, our first guest was Graham Hill, NRA board member, just one of our favorite people. And he's sitting there, he was telling us about, Brian, about the stuff that's going on in Virginia and Arizona and Colorado. And our gun rights are under attack. And we would not be doing ourselves any favors by not covering that on the Rockcastle Gun Show. I mean, we talk guns, we talk gear, we talk personalities, we do everything else, but we've got to talk about what's happening in our legislative process out there because, as Graham Hill so eloquently put, elections have consequences. So let's get out there and vote, and let's do it. Our next guest is one of my favorite ladies. She's been on the show many, many times. She's been to The Rock many, many times, and we've had a lot of fun up there, and we hope to get her back soon. But she is on a media blitz right now, and the fact that she even came on the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio 102.7 actually blew me away because I've actually thought that she would send me, those emojis that have the bird? I thought she would send me that when I texted her today and said, I know you're through the meat grinder. I mean, you were on Fox and Friends this morning early, and you did great. Our guest is Nikki Gozer. She is the author of Stalked and Defenseless, How Gun Control Helped My Stalker Murder My Husband in Front of Me. And Nikki, it's always good to have you on the show. It's even better when you're up there in the meat grinder and you're going through the media. And I can't thank you for taking a few minutes to be on the Rockcastle Gun Show.
Hey, Nick. Thanks so much for having me on.
So what was today like?
Well...
I mean, you were on Fox and Friends. You're going to be on Tucker Carlson tomorrow night. You're doing the whole thing. You just launched the book, Stalked and Defenseless. It's your second book. I read the first one. Your story, I keep saying it's raw and real, and I don't know if you like me to say that, but I believe that it is, because you're talking about the fact that you couldn't carry your gun that you carried with you every single day because you just happened to be in a gun-free zone, and as a citizen that respects the laws of the United States, they took that away from you, and then you had a tragedy happen right in front of you.
Yeah. I just try to do whatever I can to educate people about, the dangers of some gun control out there. Makes things a lot more difficult for good law-abiding people to protect themselves. And some of these gun control laws have unintended consequences. And, I want the public to know that there's another side to this. While there are victims out there who want more gun control, there are victims out there who don't believe that more gun control is the answer. We believe that it's part of the problem because of the unintended consequences. But it's been a tiresome day in New York City. I'm supposed to be on Judge Andrew Napolitano's show in the morning, and then Tucker Carlson's show tomorrow night. And I'm doing various radio and such in between, but I'm just super excited that I got to meet
Rick Perry.
Rick Perry.
Yeah, I saw you gave him his book. Yeah, Rick Perry. How cool is that? And then you were with what's the great cook? Paula Dean today. I mean, you were kidding. Yeah. How was Rick? I think Rick Perry seems like a cool guy.
He was so nice. I walked into the green room and sat down at the table, and I knew it was him sitting there. I didn't want to be like, total fangirl, like, hey, I just sat down and we kind of started talking, and he reached out and he said, "Hi, I'm Rick Perry." And I said, "Oh, I know exactly who you are."
Right.
I'm thinking, wow, this is something. So the more we spoke, he is actually a friend of the lady that wrote the foreword for my book, Susanna Hupp. Of course, he was governor in Texas back when that horrible situation happened to Susanna at the Luby's cafeteria.
Right.
So
that was her parents that were involved in that. She was there, and her parents were murdered, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But Mr. Perry is very nice, and he was very gracious, and just a very nice guy. So was Paula. Paula Dean's hilarious. She was back there telling some really funny jokes. She's just got a very lighthearted, fun personality. But it was nice to actually have, a little bit of fun.
A little bit of levity inside of such a stressful situation on national television and launching this new book. I get it.
Yes. So
I want to talk about your book, and I want to talk a little bit about your story, as much as you like to share, because I know your story deeply, and I've read the first book. But tell us about this book, and what are you trying to accomplish with it?
I'm just trying to educate the public, and hopefully people on the fence really might read this and decide, you know what? She's right. Some of these gun control laws, they're not going to stop horribly evil people, and they do make good people vulnerable. Maybe there's somebody out there who dislikes guns or they're afraid of guns, and they read this book and say, you know what, I'm not that crazy about guns for myself, but I can certainly understand why other people choose to get the training and carry a gun for self-defense themselves, even if they don't want to. Maybe it will help them understand why so many of us out here do carry.
Absolutely. Your amazing husband was murdered in front of your eyes, and you guys were doing some karaoke stuff in a restaurant, and it was a gun-free zone. But every other day of your life, if it wasn't a gun-free zone, you actually carried, you had your concealed carry permit, and you carried a firearm. But because you're a law-abiding citizen, you respected the laws, and you didn't carry that night. I don't want to speculate on what could have or would have happened had you would that, but we probably all agree, at least on a certain side, that maybe wouldn't happen. But gun-free zones are they're creating just very dangerous zones, and this is really kind of one of your big pushes, right?
Yes, I want people to really think about what gun-free zones are. Some people don't understand what a gun-free zone is, and that's where your everyday common citizen, law-abiding citizen, is not allowed to carry a gun for self-defense. Some people say, well, if they don't have metal detectors, they don't have armed security. But to me, a gun-free zone is simply where good law-abiding people are not allowed to carry. I do think it's beneficial. If you're going to have a gun-free zone, you should be doing something like metal detectors and proper armed security. I don't really think one armed security guard at some of these large buildings is going to make the cut for proper security. But then again, even if you provide armed security, these people are disarmed going to and from the building. So how are they getting to their vehicle late at night safe? You know, people don't think about these things.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. And at the end of the day, the only people carrying guns in gun-free zones, which is where the vast majority of all these atrocities happen, are by people that could care less about the laws. And so people like us that appreciate the laws and respect them, now you're taking some things out of our hands, right?
Exactly. I mean, look, if you put a sign up on a building that says no guns allowed, and you are doing nothing to provide any sort of security, there's no metal detectors, there's no armed officers, no armed security, then an evil person can just walk right in there with any type of weapon to harm or kill people. And I think it's ridiculous. You're not going to provide protection for these people, and you're going to deny them the ability to protect themselves.
Absolutely. 100%.
What options do these people have?
Now, you're doing a lot in your work right now. I mean, you work for, you've worked up in D.C. and have been involved in the Second Amendment community a bunch. You're part of the D.C. project. You're currently with the 2A. What is it? I just lost it. What are you doing now?
I'm with the Crime Prevention Research Center.
There you go. That's it. So, yeah, so you're doing all this stuff to make a difference, and that's really cool. And, you know, you go to D.C., you represent Tennessee at all the 50 states with Lady Di Muller up there and doing some cool things. So what could you give our listeners as advice right now to become more conscious about the situation they're doing, and what should they do?
You know, I want people, obviously, to know about the dangers of gun-free zones. And, you know, I'm talking about stalking, and I understand that both men and women are stalked, but I'm primarily focusing on women. You know, these women should not be made defenseless. And like I said, you know, if a woman works at a business that prohibits guns on the business property, she can't have her gun inside the business on her, and she can't even have the gun locked inside of her vehicle. That woman is defenseless there at the business, as well as when she stops by the grocery or the gas station, the bank, and when she pulls into her own driveway. And, you know, a stalker who is bent on harming or killing a woman would likely choose those places to attack. I mean, they know their victim is defenseless there. So I really hope I can open people's eyes and maybe make them think a little bit about these things.
I agree 100%. Tell us about your book. Where can we get it? Folks, you need to buy this book, and it's incredible.
It is called Stalked and Defenseless, How Gun Control Helps My Stalker Murder My Husband in Front of Me, and you can find that on Amazon.
Nikki, can't wait to get you back to Rockcastle Shooting Center. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on your book, your second book. Congratulations on being on Fox and Friends this morning. Tomorrow, Judge Napolitano. Tomorrow night, Tucker Carlson. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Nikki Gozer. Go buy her book. She's an amazing person. She's an amazing Second Amendment advocate. And thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck with the whirlwind, girl.
Thanks.
I love it. All right. You're listening to Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio. We'll be right back after these messages.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't seen your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Do you have our list of questions for the doctor?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a notepad to write down the answers?
Yes, dear.
How about a pen?
Honey, we're just getting screened for heart disease. I think it's great how much you want to keep us healthy and use these preventive services that Medicare now covers, but I'm sure if we have any questions later, we can call the doctor.
You forgot the pen, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Staying healthy means more good times with the people you love. So why not take control of your health and talk to your doctor about screening for heart disease? If there's nothing wrong, you'll know, or you'll know what steps to take to get better. Remember, Medicare does cover this and other preventive benefits. For more information, visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Take control by getting a heart disease screening. And bring someone you love.
Mr. and Mrs. Grabowski, the doctor is ready to see you.
Can I borrow your pen?
Oh, good idea, sweetie.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello, son. I'm Dean Rubin from college. Here to invite you to join us this fall.
Me?
You've always wanted to go to college, correct?
Yeah.
Well, here's that invitation you've been waiting for.
Joey, out of bed.
Wake up. You can't dream your way into college. There are actual steps you need to take. For all the steps, visit knowhowtogo.org. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
I used to smoke about a pack to 2 packs a day. That really put a strain on my pocket. That's why I really needed to find something to help me out.
1-800-QUIT now.
I was like, this may work.
I hop in the car, I have a cigarette. Wake up in the middle of the night with an asthma attack, hit my inhaler 2 times, come outside, and have a cigarette. It was really bad.
Call 1-800-QUIT now.
I've tried everything. I've tried the patches. I've tried quitting cold turkey. I've tried the gum. I just needed a person to talk to, somebody who can relate to me. She was just really supportive, and I was telling her what was going on. She was telling me different things that I could do to help with my stress. I would recommend the Quit Line because the support, the counselors, awesome people.
They called just when they said they would. They really wanted to talk you through everything. They wanted to know how I was doing. I'm definitely not coughing as much. I feel healthier.
Call 1-800-QUIT now. A public service of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and this station.
It slices, it dices, it's Car Windshield. And now it can be yours. Next time you're in a car and the driver's driving recklessly, simply say nothing. Ignore that little voice in your head that's trying to warn you. And you too can experience Car Windshield. Car Windshield may not be for everyone, as it can lead to severe side effects and even death. Passengers who wish to avoid Car Windshield can do so by following simple steps, like speaking up and telling their friends to slow down.
There is no spokesperson to prevent reckless driving. There's only you. Speak up. This has been a message from the Ad Council.
It's John Scouten from Shooting USA on Outdoor Channel, and you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio.
Hey, welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio. It's your host, Nick and Nate Noble. Nate's actually not in the studio, but he's on the list, and he's on the phone lines with us, that LineX hotline, and we've got Brian Webb, who's, he's over here peddling the board.
He's doing a shoddy job on the board.
I know. I mean, it's just like, we've never had this much unprofessionalism in this.
You try it, Nate.
It's all good. Brian Webb's in, and Nate Noble is on the line with us. Hey, we've had a great show so far. We had Graham Hill, NRA board member, talking about the crazy stuff that's going on in Virginia right now. 95 counties, 45 have already said they're 2A sanctuaries. Governor's trying to ban every semi-automatic gun there is. That means you can pretty much only have a pump shotgun and a single-shot pistol and maybe a revolver, right, Nate?
Well, yeah, it's even deeper than that. They don't want kids handling a firearm until they're 18. which basically takes every youth hunter in the equation out of the equation, which is the dumbest thing that's ever happened on the planet. Plus, I mean, you can go brick by brick on these gun laws, and they're stupid. It's ridiculous. And I was listening to the show, and Graham Hill's amazing, obviously, because there's not a gun law in the United States of America that Graham doesn't know about, even if it's like a state Senate bill or crap like that, like we got going on in Kentucky right now. Hey, there's a petition in Kentucky, 354, HR 354. We got to crush it, and we got to crush it hard because our new governor is not a gun guy, and we messed up. The teachers got mad, whatever, but they're concentrating on a whole different list of things now, and we got to crush it. But Graham knows everything. He knows it's amazing to me, the knowledge of the guy on the Second Amendment. And the most crucial thing he said about Virginia is that all these states doing sanctuary stuff right now is political because there are no anti-Second Amendment laws on the books in Virginia. But when they pass them, and they will pass them, you got to hope that the Supreme Court or something's going to step in and overturn this stuff. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And, you know, we'll see how all that, you know, as it goes through the court system and everything else, you know it's going to be challenged. But it's scary, and it's scary to think of a state like Virginia that has been so pro-gun can just quickly flip like that. And it makes you think.
Well, that and most of the people that lived in Virginia wrote the Second Amendment. I mean, Jesus, what are we talking about?
That's right. They're the founders of this country.
They're the founders of our country, and they're in there doing this stuff. And elections have consequences. I'm telling you right now. We got to get after it because, and we're in jeopardy. But we do have more important things to talk about tonight.
Well, we do, and you know, and before we get into Rockcastle 2.0, which I know we've got a lot of people streaming, I can't wait to see how many people are streaming this because we made a little bit of an announcement today that we're real proud of. But Nikki,
responses on social media are Nikki's awesome.
Yeah, Nikki's she's on her media blitz up there with her new book, and what a just tragic story. But she's such a 2A warrior, and it's really good. So.
I mean,
anyway.
She's doing like 10 things in her life on committees, writing books, doing stuff, showing up on Fox News, defending the Second Amendment. Diana Moore got the Second Amendment 2A going on.
DC Project, yeah.
Yeah, DC Project. My question is, what are you doing? I mean, all these people are doing all these things. I mean, we kind of do it because we run a gun range where people come to. Some of the posts on social media are funny. The Rockcastle 2.0, and they're like, freedom! Right?
Freedom! That's good. Well, now we've transitioned to Rockcastle 2.0. So, hey, there's been folks, I'm going to, this is just like with a little asterisk here. I apologize from the bottom of our heart that we haven't been able to really talk about some of the transitions that are going on at Rockcastle Shooting Center. I will tell you this, that Nick and Nate Noble, who founded Rockcastle Shooting Center in 2010, have poured their heart and their soul into creating what we believe is the finest shooting sports destination resort in the world. You know, we bring people from all over the world. There was over 28 countries that have been there. They've competed there. They've vacationed there. They only came there because of guns. Folks from every state in the United States have come and competed there. We've had over 250 shooting competitions over the years. And we've had to make some hard decisions at Rockcastle Shooting Center. We have sold some of the property which we needed to do and we're in a transition mode right now. But I will tell you that the future of Rockcastle Shooting Center has never been stronger. Where some of our what we'll call our weaknesses have been bolstered by people that really know how to take care of that, and Nick and Nate Noble and the Rockcastle team can take care of it. So, Nate, tell us a little bit about what's going on right now.
Well, bottom line is Nick and Nate Noble are great outdoorsmen and gun guys, and we love to run matches. We love our Second Amendment community. We are not hotel operators. So we brought in a family to purchase the hotel, and everything we did at Rockcastle that was positive went to that hotel and all the things associated with it. And right now, I can tell you, Rockcastle Shooting Center, because of what we've done, we are leaner, we are meaner. Our matches are going to be better. Our matches are going to be bolstered. We'll have more resources to direct toward the shooting sports instead of, spoilers at the hotel.
Right.
It's just stuff that has plagued us from the beginning. There's not another shooting center that I know of on the planet that has a hotel attached to it, and the overhead of that beast is brutal. And we got rid of that. And I think the things we're going to have to make a few sacrifices. There's a few matches we can't do because what we had to do. But in the end, everything we do is going to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a really strategic buyer that came in and took over the hotel. I think anybody that's ever been to Rockcastle Shooting Center loves the atmosphere up there. They love the vast array of ranges. They love the festivities and everything else. But there was always one common thread is, boy, that hotel needs to be renovated. And it's getting ready to get over $1 million worth of renovations.
$1 million in renovation of the hotel. Now, everybody's going to say, oh, man, the prices are going to go up. Well, they might, but it's not going to go up that much, I can assure you, because they need business. We needed business. And it's just going to get better and better. And they're not doing the whole hotel at the same time. It's, blocks of 30 rooms and stuff that they're remodeling and rejuvenating and doing the things they need to do. So I think everything that's going on, we have a better, slimmer, faster, more, agile Rockcastle Shooting Center. We can really focus on what we do the best, which is shooting guns in America and the things that we need to do it.
Yeah, huge emphasis on continuing to build our competitive shooting resume,
our training resume,
firearms and training education, bringing the best and the brightest trainers into Rockcastle Shooting Center, and also just really focusing in on competitive shooting, which is what we're really good at. Focusing in on, the firearms, the shooting, hunting, and outdoor trade industry, bringing bigger groups in there. As the hotel gets better, that'll be easier for us to do that. And it's not going to change. I mean, the future owners of the hotel are just, they're counting on Rockcastle being not only alive and well, but thriving, because they desperately need it. It's a destination resort anyway, and they need that to go on. And that's why it took us a little bit of maneuver and everything else and letting the dust settle to try to get some of this together. And that's why we hadn't been able to really talk a lot about it, because we didn't want to really talk. There was I've never seen as much rumor and innuendo and speculation, and I love that. That from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate that, because people love the place and they just want it to keep going. And but we were not in a position to say a whole lot and to squash rumors, because we had to figure some stuff out. And it's
and I'm going to back up and say this: you put a little bling out there on Facebook or whatever it was for the show tonight, the radio show, Rockcastle 2.0 and all that. We're going to talk about the new Rockcastle. And I've been reading, trust me, people, I've read every Rockcastle Facebook post that's happened since all the rumors and innuendo kind of went on. And the craziest thing is, it's only because the people love Rockcastle Shooting Center. And they're our family, and we love them, and we don't want it to go away. We've been fighting hard to do what we're doing. And it just the responses you got on social media from that post is the reason that we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
There's no other reason.
No, and we talked just briefly about that. The 2020 shooting competition season is going to be epic. It's going to be the best one we've ever had. We're going to have huge matches. The Pro-Am is going to be alive and well and kicking butt. The Rock Hard coming up in March is going to be there. Bruce Davidson and I had a long conversation this afternoon. There's just some good stuff. We're going to just keep doing all the things that we're doing. But this is where we need your help, folks. If you love Rockcastle Shooting Center, you need to kind of continue to bring us opportunities and situations in which we can continue to offer all these great matches, all these great training and education opportunities. Come up here and spend a weekend with your family, shooting guns, playing golf, doing whatever you do.
Hey,
right?
Check this out. In February, we're going to register for the Pro-Am, the largest three-gun match on the planet, and we still get to do that.
Yeah.
And then in March, we have the IBO Winter National. We have 600 archers coming in to compete in 3D archery, and we still get to do that. And then in May, we got the Glock Shooting Sports Foundation match. 600 freaking people with a new Glock 44, 22 long rifle caliber Glock, for crying out loud. There's a new category. How many people... 600 could go to 800 with the new 22 caliber, because there's a bunch of kids and people that don't normally shoot 9mm and up are going to come shoot that, and we still get to do that. And then we got the Pro-Am, and we still get to do that. We got the Industry Choice Awards, and we still get to do that, and we get to shine and be what we want to do and what we need to do for our community, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and we've got a bunch of really new, exciting events and competitions that we're going to do that are going to be announced soon. This is the cool thing about this, is it clears the nobles into really going after and driving Rockcastle business instead of worrying about the hotel and the golf course and all the different stuff that took up so much of our time. And our niche is our niche. We've recognized that, and this really was a move to position Rockcastle Shooting Center better. Was it scary at times? Absolutely. Was it? I mean, there's just a lot of different things that have gone into it. This has been an emotion.
Scary is a word that is... So for 10 years, we poured our blood, sweat, tears, heart, soul into Rockcastle and to our community. And to think that there's a chance that we're going to lose it because of factors outside of Rockcastle that's a scary thing, right? Because it had nothing to do with Rockcastle. Rockcastle is an amazing business and will continue to be, and I'm just glad we get to roll on.
Absolutely.
I hear Brian Webb talking. He's giving you the warning.
Yeah,
2 minutes.
You can hear
minutes.
it all. You just gave me the
warning.
1 minute warning.
Hey, we didn't kill any elk. Well, we did kill an elk today. Derek Esters from Edmonson County, Kentucky, drew a Middlesbrough elk tag, killed a cow today. There's 3 inches of snow. It's 15 degrees in the morning, and we're still hunting elk in Kentucky. So
that's cool.
Life is good.
Life is good, and Rockcastle 2.0 is good. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank all the rockheads out there, the people that love Rockcastle Shooting Center, that have been coming there for 10 years, the people that we love, that we call family. I cannot thank you for your support that you've given us throughout this year and throughout the last 10 years, and we are going to prevail, and you are going to be part of it. We need you to be part of the solution. And we've gotten rid of a bunch of our problems. And you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN.
And
Radio.
Merry Christmas.